I have a confession to make. Up until a couple days ago, I had never seen Over the Garden Wall. Don't get me wrong, it's not because I didn't want to, it's just, well, at the time I didn't think much of it. A mini-series by Cartoon Network that looked kinda similar to Adventure Time? It looked fine, just not really something worth my time. But lo and behold, I see everyone raving about it online and my interest starts getting a little piqued. Of course, by then Cartoon Network stopped airing it, so I didn't have the time to go see it. Luckily for me, I was able to avoid spoilers up until I saw it, which came at request of Leaf Razor winning the Patreon raffle. By the way, if you would like to pick a Media Mementos review, donate to our Patreon. Link in the description. But he picked Over the Garden Wall, and I wasn't quite sure what to do with it because so many people have talked about it that I don't know where to add something new. But then I thought, why not give my thoughts as someone who has just recently seen the show? And yes, I am recording this the day after I've seen all 10 episodes in a row. I watched it, and I was blown away. How did it take me this long? Why did I wait? I'm kicking myself for this. I don't know if I really would have appreciated it back when it came out, but I kinda wish I did give it a chance. After all, I was still a huge fan of Gravity Falls back then, and it is quite similar to this. Truly, I missed out, but now it's my time to fix that. Over the Garden Wall started off as a pitch made in 2004. After the creator worked on a couple Cartoon Network shows, the network decided to pick it up. And here we go, the first ever Cartoon Network miniseries. It's 10 episodes in total, each one about 11 minutes, telling a sorta loose theme. These two kids named Wirt and Greg are trying to find their way home after getting lost, where else, over the garden wall. They come across a talking bluebird named Beatrice, and together, they try to make their way back to where they came from, without being hunted down by the evil beast known as the Beast. Let's start off with the simple fact that this is a star-studded cast. Elijah Wood plays Wirt, and he does a very, very good job. In addition, there's also Christopher Lloyd, John Cleese, Sam Raimi, Tim Curry, and more. And they all do a fantastic job. Sometimes I don't even recognize the voices, they're that good. They really got into character for this. The characters are bizarre, they're strange, but they're quite fun to watch. I can't think of a single one I didn't like. Speaking of the characters, let's talk about them. I will say that Wirt and Greg's relationship isn't quite unique, especially given that there are a lot of comparisons to be made about Dipper and Mabel, but I think it's just interesting enough. Wirt is pretty arrogant and thinks very highly of himself. Yes, he is smarter than Greg and more mature, but he's also very insecure, and he doesn't really know how to socialize with people. Greg is just constant happiness, joy, and fun. That is up until the last couple episodes, but I don't want to get into spoilers. On the off chance you haven't seen it, I want you to, and go in as blind as possible. Greg is always off doing something quirky and weird because, well, he's a kid. He doesn't really grasp the weight of the situation that he and his brother are in. All he cares about is, yes, getting back home, but moreover, his frog that has a constant changing name. Beatrice, their bird friend, is quite contrary to what I expected her to be. Seeing that she was not only the female lead of the show, but also a bluebird, I thought she'd be kinda cheery, sunny, maybe even a motherly figure towards Wirt and Greg, but nope, she's quite the opposite. She's cynical, she's angry, and she always fights with Wirt, and I vastly prefer this version of the character than what I was afraid we were gonna get. Her backstory especially makes her interesting, but again, I don't want to get into that right here. Then let's talk about our villain, the Beast. He is amazing. We rarely ever see him outside of the shadow, and we don't know all too much about him. But that's the beauty part. He's shrouded in mystery, leaving us to theorize what exactly is going on. But we do know that he's merciless, he's cruel, he's vile, and he won't stop at anything until he gets his hands on the boys. Not in any creepy way. Well, not in the creepy way you're thinking, you know what I mean, let's move on. There's also the woodsman played by Christopher Lloyd. He pops up every so often to give some lore about the Beast or some cryptic warning about what he's gonna do. At first he seems like somewhat of a random character, but no, he's actually got a deep connection with the Beast and plays a very big part in the climax of the series. The story to Over the Garden Wall is a bit loose. I mentioned that earlier. What do I mean? Well, it's kind of episodic. Despite the fact it is a miniseries with technically speaking an overarching plot, a lot of these episodes are just that, episodes. This feels like it could have been just as easily a TV show rather than just a miniseries. I'm not complaining, not at all. I'm just saying it's more structured as a TV series rather than, say, the It miniseries. But the episodes we get are really fun. Think the down-to-earth and strange nature of Adventure Time with the lore, mythos, and somewhat characters of Gravity Falls. That's exactly what I thought it was going to be, and it delivered in every way. While it is quite similar to those two shows, it does enough different to stand out and be its own thing, and also be enjoyable. The art style especially was very interesting. On paper, it just seems alright, that typical quote-unquote Cal art style where everything just kinda looks somewhat similar, very round, somewhat defined and clean. But in motion, it's a lot better. The movements are fluid, the colors are vibrant, and the designs of the creatures they encounter, especially the beast, are fantastic. Again, there's something I would have seen in Adventure Time or Gravity Falls, but that doesn't mean that they look any less exciting. This also plays into the action scenes. Tons of movement, vibrant colors, and every impact feels real. You definitely feel each and every hit. Also, something that doesn't get talked about much is the score. There's a lot of good songs in here, with the characters every so often singing, mostly Greg or some of the random townspeople they come across. But they're all fun, they're all exciting, and they're just great to listen to, even when they're intentionally off key, like with Greg. It's just kinda cute when he does it. I mean, he's a kid, come on. And by the way, I didn't mention his actor, but he actually ended up going on to play Lincoln Loud in The Loud House, so that's pretty cool. There are two issues I have with Over the Garden Wall though. Don't get me wrong, I still love it, but there are two things I think it could have improved on. One, I wish it could be longer. Not necessarily just because I wanted to see more, which I did. As soon as it was over, I wanted to rewatch the whole thing and start all over again, which is always a sign of a good product. But also, I think it could have standed to be a little bit longer. Maybe flesh out a couple more of the backstories or some of the other characters that we get, like the woodsman. He does get some development, I just wish we could have gotten a little bit more. Also, the ending scene with the beast was a bit rushed. I know that these things are 11 minutes, but I wished it could have played out just at least a couple minutes longer. It was kind of blink and you miss it, and it didn't really have all that much going on. For all the build-up it had, I kind of expected more. The other problem I have is that a lot of these episodes don't really connect. A lot of them in the middle part of this just feel like filler. It's Wirt and Greg going on weird adventures, seeing weird parts of the unknown. Really only a couple episodes are actually crucial to the plot. With that being said, these quote-unquote filler episodes are still great. There's that creepy land where there's the pumpkin skeleton people. There's the town where everybody has to have a label of some sort, and anyone who's not isn't really a person. There's the old guy who thinks he's in love with a ghost. These were all great adventures, and I enjoyed every bit of them. Again, just wish it could have had a little bit more of that overarching theme. I started watching Over the Garden Wall late at night, and I just refused to stop until I got to the end. It had me hooked. I couldn't get away no matter how much I tried. I had work, I had school, I had other projects to work on the next day, but that didn't matter. I had to get through Over the Garden Wall. It's a fun ride from beginning to end. Those issues I brought up were just minor complaints. Nitpicks, really. I was just kind of scrambling for anything I didn't like about it. This is a near perfect miniseries, and if Cartoon Network ever wanted to do something like this again, I'd say do it. Please do it. It doesn't have to be just like Over the Garden Wall, it could be something new, but this shows that the crew behind this can really handle this. And if you ever wanted to see the stories of Wirt and Greg continued, there's always the Over the Garden Wall comics. Check them out! I haven't checked them out myself, so it's kind of a gamble. I don't really have a recommendation, but hey, they're out there, and I believe they're canon too. So if you want more Over the Garden Wall, go there. But if you just want to watch the miniseries, then go right ahead. You didn't hear it from me, but all the episodes are available on Dailymotion. Wink, wink, wink. If you haven't already and you're like me, who, yes, hears great things about it, but just didn't really have the time or interest to see it, check it out. Odds are you won't be disappointed. With great characters, a wonderful cast, surprising animation, and thrilling music, Over the Garden Wall truly is a masterpiece. Well, folks, thank you very much for watching. Yes, it's true, I actually outright avoided Over the Garden Wall, and I'm still kicking myself for that. So what'd you guys think of the video? What do you guys think of Over the Garden Wall? Comment below and let me know because, as always, I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say. Alright everybody, thank you very much for watching, and wait a minute. Next week's December 25th, that's Christmas! Oh, you're in for a treat.